Hey guys, how you doing? I want to do something a little different today as far as the background. As you can see, I wanted to create a little woodsy type atmosphere. As you can see, I live near or in front of a wooded area. It's not really a wooded area like a forest or anything or the woods. It's actually just a row of trees that separate me from another subdivision, across the way. But we're talking about trees that have been standing for like hundreds of years. Like if you look down here, you can see fallen trees. That's probably been standing since before people actually lived in this entire area that I live in. And the trees alone, some of them are dead because they look like ash that was molded into the stem of a tree. But yeah, I figured this will be a perfect background for the type of topics that I voice on my channel when it comes to people disappearing in national parks and forests and stuff like that. So here we are, right here in my backyard on my deck, and you can see the woods, and they do look spooky too when you really look at it. It's really crazy because like in the wintertime, you know you don't see the leaves and everything, because right now you can see straight through to the back. But in the summertime, of course, with the leaves on it, you can't see nothing. Ain't nothing but green. So it actually looks beautiful when the leaves on it. But now it looks all creepy, like something out of the Blair Witch. Like the Black Hill Forest, in the movie The Blair Witch. But as promised, like I always say, from what I said in one of my previous videos, I want to start with something from the past and work my way up to the present. So today's story is actually going to be about a woman this time. Her name was Barbara Newhall Follett, or Follett. I think it probably might be Follett, but I'm not high end with these names. But anyway, she was born on March 14th, 1914 in Hanover, New Hampshire, U.S. She disappeared on December 7th, 1939 at the age of 25 in Brookline, Massachusetts. Her nationality was American. Other names: Barbara Rogers. Apparently she was married at one point. Her occupation was a novelist. Notable works were The House Without Windows in 1927 and The Voyage of the Normandy in 1928. Her spouses were Nickerson Rogers, married in 1933 through 1939. Her parents were Wilson Follett and Helen Follett. Now, Barbara Newhall Follett, March 4th, 1914, disappeared on December 7th, 1939. She was an American child prodigy novelist. Her first novel, The House Without Windows, was published in January of 1927 when she was 12 years old. Cool. Her new novel, The Voyage of the Normandy, received critical acclaim when she was 14. In December of 1939, at the age of 25, she reportedly became depressed with her marriage and walked out of her. Oops, wait a minute, hold on. Okay, I didn't even select that. Okay, sorry about that. There was something going on with my computer. Okay, let's see. In December of 1939, aged at 25, she reportedly became depressed with her marriage and walked out of her apartment with just $30 in her pocket. She was never seen again. Okay. In late 1933, Follett married Nickerson Rogers. The couple traveled throughout Europe and the United States before eventually settling in Brookline, Massachusetts. The marriage was initially happy, But Follett soon came to believe that Rogers was being unfaithful to her and became depressed. According to her husband, on December 7, 1939, Follett left their apartment after a quarrel with only $30 in her pocket. She was never seen again. Rogers did not report Follett's disappearance to police for two weeks, claiming that he was waiting for her to return. 4 months. Well, I can see that, because I mean, even though they had words with each other, you know, she's still his wife. So I would imagine he would wait to see if she's gonna come home, like any other person probably would, because I'm pretty sure I would too. I mean, if she's mad, she's gonna cool off, and then she'll come back home and we'll try to make up, you know, from the fight. But obviously that did not happen. Okay, let's see. Okay, 4 months after notifying police, he requested a missing persons bulletin be issued. As the bulletin was issued under Follett's married name of Rogers, it went largely unnoticed by the media, who did not learn of her disappearance until 1966. In 1952, 13 years after Follett disappeared, her mother Helen began insisting that Brookline police investigate the matter more thoroughly. Helen Follett had become suspicious of Nickerson Rogers after she discovered that he had put forth little effort to find his wife. In a letter to Rogers, Helen Follett wrote, "All of the silence on your part looks as if you had something to hide concerning Barbara's disappearance. You cannot believe that I shall sit idle during my last few years and not make whatever effort I can to find out whether Bar is alive or dead, whether perhaps she is in some institution suffering from amnesia or nervous breakdown. Follett's body was never found. No evidence either indicating or including foul play was ever produced, and the date and circumstances of her death were never established." Okay, that's crazy. It sounds like a typical situation when it comes to someone disappearing, but at the same time, it could be the fact that Nickerson Rogers had something to do with her disappearance, or it could just be the fact that she just vanished without a trace, because they never found her body. And I don't think even back then they were able to just make a body disappear unless they were to cremate the body and just scatter the ashes all over the place. You know, now, did he have the money to do that? I don't know. I mean, they were travelers, you know, so it's possible. But all in all, if there's no evidence to indicate what happened in any manner, I would think that the only reason would be that something unnatural happened to her. You know, now, like I said, she could have just wanted to leave and never come back, so she probably changed. You know, I know she couldn't have changed her name that fast. I mean, she may have. I don't know. Maybe she could have done it. I mean, back in those days, things were a little different. You know, I mean, it was a lot more easier to just vanish without a trace, I would imagine, because they didn't have the technology that we have now. I mean, nowadays, all you got to do is, you know, monitor their cell phone callage if he pings off of a tower or something like that, or you can, she had $30 in her pocket. Now, let's just say she had $30 on a credit card. You can monitor that, you know, by looking at, did she, you know, swipe her card to spend money on some food because they knew she was going to be hungry or thirsty. But they didn't have those kind of things back in those days, so it's anybody's guess of what actually happened to her. So yeah, but gonna move on to another story which is well known in the missing 411 circuit, and David Paulides talked about this in his books and in on a lot of his interviews on Coast to Coast AM. This one It's going to, I believe this one is going to be about, yeah, Dennis Martin, the little boy that disappeared in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. Okay, this is how it starts off. Three unsolved disappearances have haunted the Great Smoky Mountain National Park for over 4 decades. The first took place on June 4th, 1969, when 6-year-old Dennis Martin was scheming with his brother and 2 other boys in the park's Spence Field while on an annual family camping trip. They were planning to sneak up on their family and startle them, but when the boys ran and jumped on the adults, Dennis was nowhere to be found. Okay. Okay, now this is a picture of the Great Smoky Mountains in that area. I'll blow it up a little bit if I can. Oh, I can't do it. I can't blow it up. So, yeah, but this is a picture of the Great Smoky Mountains. And I think that's a true photo of how it looks, you know, at whatever time of the day it is. Obviously it's in the evening, you know, where the sky is nice, got a nice pinkish orange color to it. But yeah, that's the way it looks. It does look kind of ominous with the fog and all that stuff, and it looks very desolate as far as, you know, life. But, you know, that's anybody's, because I've never been to the Great Smoky Mountains. I doubt if I ever will go there, you know. But, you know, anyway. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Give me 1 second, guys. Hey.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, I was just calling to see if you saw my cutter, but I got it though. I was in the area, so I went to go get it. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Sorry about that, guys. That was a coworker of mine. Okay, I guess that may add a little flair to the video, you know. But okay, now on October 8th, 1976, while on a horticulture field trip with 40 of her classmates, 16-year-old Trini Lynn Gibson was hiking along Andrews Bald. No one can recall seeing her after 3 p.m. Searches continued for months, but no trace of Gibson was ever found. Okay, 58-year-old Thelma Pauline Melton was hiking near Deep Creek Campground, a trail she'd been on many times before, on September 25th, 1981. She was with friends when she walked ahead. When she walked ahead of them and vanished over the hill, but they couldn't find her on the other side, nor could they find her at the campground where she was staying. All 3 disappearances ignited massive search efforts. Dennis Martin's search cost $65,000, but not a single trace of them ever turned up. The disappearance of Jared Negrete. Okay. In 1991, a Boy Scout went on his first overnight camping trip with his church in the San Bernardino National Forest. 12-year-old Jared Negrete, described in articles at the time as a shy, pudgy kid. Was with 5 other scouts and their troop leader when they left Camp Tequitz to hike up 11,500 foot mountain San Gorgonio, the highest peak in Southern California. Jared fell behind the group. Differing reports have him either wandering off the trail, falling behind after stopping to tie his shoe, or being told to hang back for the troop to collect to collect him on the way back down from the summit. Whatever the case, he was never seen again. Now that alone is ominous because, you know, in a situation like that, you know, he falls behind, just like how they say that's what always seems to happen. They fall behind and all of a sudden, poof, they're gone. They just vanish without a trace. And then them kind of people are never found. Sometimes, like, I mean, if you're in a national forest or a national park, most of the time, you're never found. I've never heard of a case where they were found days later. I think some of them were found, like one person was found leaning up against a tree with a bullet hole in their head, but they were dead. And then others, you found their gear or like a backpack sitting on a log, like as if someone was doing inventory, but you didn't find the body. Now, and then in some cases, you'll find everything else, but you won't find the shoes. Why would they take the shoes? Like there was a doctor that David Paulides talked about who disappeared while he was hiking, and they found the body, but they couldn't find the shoes. I think they found his pants, and they found bone fragments in the pants, like a tibia, I think, and no shoes. But they found the socks with ankle bones in it, but they couldn't find the shoes. I mean, why would you take the shoes in any case? You know, one person I think somebody on his team said that, well, if they take the shoes, it would make them very hard to get away, and that's a pretty good, you know, statement right there. So, yeah. Let me see. Jared, let me see it again. Okay, rescue teams as far west as Malibu searched around the clock, eventually turning up Jared's backpack, some candy wrappers, beef jerky, and a camera. 12 photographs were developed, mostly landscapes, but the last one was of Jared's eyes and nose, taken after he went missing. Maybe at some point he actually took a picture of himself trying to catch whatever it was that grabbed him, and he probably was only able to get a picture of his nose and his what did he say? His nose and his mouth, I think. Let me see. Yeah, his eyes and his nose. So now, whatever condition his eyes was in, as far as how they looked like, maybe he was in fright and his eyes was wide open, or you know, or his nose, who knows? I don't know, but that's all they really found at that point. Now, the camera was discovered in the same area as the other items, but after a 16-day search that included 5 helicopters, rangers on horseback, and infrared cameras, Jared Negrete was never found. The Cullen family massacre. I never read about this one. Now, this is in the Smoky Mountains. 7.5 months after the Cullen family was reported missing in 1974, police found their bodies. Okay. The Cullens had gone camping in the Smoky Mountains in Applegate, Oregon, over Labor Day weekend in 1974, but failed to show up for dinner at Richard Cullen's mother's house on September 1st. Media accounts from the time described their campsite as undisturbed, as if the family left abruptly. Investigators later postulated that they had been abducted. The question is, by who? I mean, they were massacred. They found their bodies. Now, I can't wait to get to the part where it tells you what condition the bodies were in. Okay, their bodies were discovered in April of 1975, about 100 feet from the campsite. Richard's body was found tied to a tree, while the bodies of his wife and 2 small children were found in a cave with rocks sealing the entrance. Okay, weird. Dwayne Lee Little, a rapist and killer serving 2 life sentences, allegedly confessed to a fellow inmate that he murdered the Cullens while on parole, but there was no conviction. The case remains open. Okay. Okay, now I'm guessing. Let me see. Make sure these are the people here, because I was going to talk about the Cullen family. Okay, they didn't have a picture of the Cullen family, but this is the area where they were camping at. This is the Smoky Mountains right here. It's real beautiful, but I would never go there. I can tell you that right now. After what happened, you never know what could be going on in these national parks. It could be something ominous, supernatural, or just somebody like a rapist, like this guy that they said that committed that actually confessed to the crime. Now he may have heard about the crime and probably he probably admitted to it because he was a rapist and a murderer. He could have just been saying that to get the the accolades for it. Because some people like to do that. Who are murderers, they want to get credit for the things that they do, or even things that never been solved. So they try to say, okay, well, I did it. But that, like I said, that never turned up any leads. Okay, now this one is going to be about the Death Valley National. Okay. First of all, it says Egbert Remkus, Cornelia Mayer, and George Weber, 3 of the 4 Germans who went missing in Death Valley in 1996. And these are their photos right here. These are the people right here. Okay, so you got a good look at that. Get up a little closer. Get a little closer with arid that's dry. Anyway, okay. Death Valley National Park is an airy stretch of arid lands. Arid. Okay, I was just saying arid extra dry. Funny, but he had to be there. But anyway, okay, arid land that covers 3 million acres along the border of California and Nevada. Considered the hottest location in North America, park rangers constantly remind visitors not to underestimate the Mojave sun. During a record stake of 120-degree days in July 1996, 4 German tourists went missing. Oh boy. The last known trace of the group was on guest book signature in a box at a small ghost town that read 72396. Connie Egbert, George Max. Connie Egbert, George Max. I guess those are the 2 names that signed that book, that guest book. We are going through the past. Rangers assumed this referred to the Mingel Pass, I guess. The family wasn't on their return flight on July 29th, and Interpol listed them missing on August 14th. Their lot rental van was discovered abandoned on October 23rd with 3 flat tires. No tracks, wallets, keys, or passports linked to the group were ever found. Dozens of theories circulated about whether they encountered the wrong people, perished while trying to find shade, or even if they had staged their own disappearance. Okay, 2009, human bones were discovered in Death Valley, according to the Associated Press. Authorities were fairly certain they belonged to the tourists. Well, I mean, that's a good assumption. I mean, that might have been the remains of them. And if it was a set of 3 skeletons, or who knows, as long as they did the DNA test to find out if that was them. But they just said fairly certain that they belonged to the tourists. They didn't say anything about an autopsy report or DNA results from the bones that they found in the Death Valley. But the heat might have baked the DNA. It might have destroyed it, for all I know. I don't know how that works, but it is what it is. But anyway, that's my time on that part. I got more that I'm gonna read, but next time I'm probably gonna read from the actual book, because there's still a lot that I gotta read from there, and there's a lot I can give from here, because I'm actually on a website that is linked to the National Park Service. These are just basically stories of people that disappeared in the national parks. And of course, I will be reading from Wikipedia as well, because that one story I read was from 1933. Now they got plenty of them that goes back all the way to like the 1600s, like I think they said Aristotle, a couple of people that were actually famous, you know, in their time. But anyway, that's my time on that case, and I just want to thank you guys for joining me here on Insane Disappearances. And I'm glad that you guys liked my trailer for my channel. You know, I just want to do something a little special, you know, for that, you know, since I'm trying to get my subscription count up. I'm just trying to make things a little bit more aware on all the social media sites and everything. And I got a lot of people that hit me up on my Twitter page. So if you want to find out what's going on my Twitter page, just go to Open Your Mind 2. Open Your Mind 2. That's my Twitter page. So you can go on there and look at some. I'm gonna start posting some videos from here, and like pictures of people who vanished in national parks, or children who have been missing for a while. So I think what I'm trying to do, not so much I think, but I don't want to just stay in that one area. I want to talk about children who are missing as well, who have been missing for years. Now the story behind how they turned up missing is the key to all of this, because they just say that they were missing at such and such a date, and then they do all those the age differentiality, you know, where they show how they may look now if they're still alive, you know. So that they just say that they're missing. They don't ever have any evidence as to why they're missing, and if they do, it's not available to the public. So I might still post some of those on my Twitter page and on my YouTube page. So if you like this video, you know what to do. Hit me with them thumbs up and subscribe. Okay, tell your friends about me. You know, drop me a comment below the video here, and you know, let me know what you think. And if you got any crazy theories on what may happen to these people, I would love to hear it. I want everybody to do that. I want you guys to open up your mind, okay, and just let the theories flow, no matter how weird it may be. And if you know something about what could happen, you know what to do. Just like one of my new subscribers, he was talking about the incident with Kenny Beach, and he was saying that is it possible that they knew that he had, you know, depression problems, and they used that as a means to kidnap him. And I said that's a very good theory on that, because the way I see it, excuse me, a lot of the people that turn up missing, they hike in the areas where they disappear at for years, and I mean a lot of years. They know the area like the back of their hand, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, bam, they just disappear. Just like this woman in Australia, I can't remember her name right now. I watched the video that David Paulides put out on her about an hour or two ago, and he was saying how she walked this one trail all the time when she was hiking in the mountainy area near where she lived, in that's near Sydney, Australia. And they said she normally, when she walked down this one road, which was pretty far out, she would make a right and go that way, but this time she made a left, because in that direction was a friend of hers. She knew an air pilot that crashed in an area that no one really knew about. There was an airfield out there, and nobody really knew that it was, but she knew the guy personally. And so they think that she might have went that way to find him if he did crash out there. So, and then, but see, she got to a certain point, and there's a real long road that leads out to the side of this big mountain. I think it's like a huge, like, drop off into a canyon, you know, and you see trees and mountain areas, and it's like the trees cover like a large span of the mountain, the canyon, you know, where she was. They feel that she was last seen, because there was like a little, like I guess you said, like a little rail that separated the cliff from the drop off, and she disappeared somewhere in that area, they think, but they don't know, because she's never been found. So, and they said that she had no signs of dementia. She was perfectly sane and healthy, and she was very fit. That's why she was able to do all that walking. And she just disappeared. She's never been found. This happened, I believe, in early to late 80s, I believe, or the early 90s. I'm not sure. I have to look at that video again, but yeah. So it is what it is. And on that note, it's time for me to get off of this channel so I can chill out, because I'm off today. I got to be to work by 12 noon tomorrow. You know, and I might be seeing a friend of mine later on tonight. I'm not sure, but I'll find out. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining me right here on Insane Disappearances. And as you can see behind me, those trees just get spookier and spookier by the second, because you know it's like 6 something in the afternoon, so the dark is coming in. It's gonna be looking even more spooky at night. So I just thought I would throw this in with the background, with the type of stuff that I talk about, to make it look nice and ominous, you know. So I may do a lot of my videos out here if it's not too cold outside. But anyway, like I said, I gotta go, and I want to thank you guys for joining me. And like I said, tell your friends about me, like and subscribe. Hit me with them thumbs up, like I said, and comment if you need to. If you got any ideas, let me know. So I gotta go. Aloha, mahalo, and ahuyo. Peace out, guys. Be safe, be blessed. Love you.